Hey everybody, my name is Jeremiah Craig. I've gotten a lot of requests to do a video on how to clean out the inside of a used cowboy boot that might be new to you. So that's what we're talking about today. Let's clean the inside of these Justin Ropers. I'm just here to connect ya, and then I'll be on my way. I picked up these Justin Roper boots from Goodwill, and I figured it was a good opportunity to finally talk about cleaning out the inside and disinfecting it if you get a used pair of boots that's new to you. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I usually don't clean out the inside of cowboy boots when I get them used, and that might kind of gross a lot of you out at first, but I also look for used cowboy boots that are only slightly used, that have an all leather inside. When you're looking for used cowboy boots, I definitely recommend that you look for a boot that has the original outsole and the original heel cap. And a lot of times you can tell it has the original outsole if there's not like a slit in the middle here where somebody put a half sole on, or it looks a little bit different. And the heel cap is a great indicator as well. On some of these major brands, oftentimes they will have their brand name in the heel cap. And when you go to a cobbler to get new heel caps, usually they don't have ones with Justin on it, right? So when you buy a Justin Roper, for example, sometimes you can see the fact that Justin is still in this heel cap, and that means it's still a relatively new boot and really hasn't been worn that much. And I like to pick up those kinds of boots because there is very much less of a risk of there being just gross insides, right? They aren't worn very much, and there's so much more life in this boot. I also like to get used boots that have all leather insides. Leather lining and a hard leather insole, traditionally made, is the best because leather has a lot of antimicrobial properties. If you get a boot that has a very lightly worn outsole, still has the original heel cap, and has leather lining with a hard leather insole, then those probably don't need to be cleaned, to be honest. A leather lined boot with a hard leather insole isn't going to have as much bacteria problems as a cloth lined boot or a boot with a removable insole. If you get a boot with a removable insole that's used, I say just take out that removable insole and get another one. They're removable for a reason. Remove it and get a new insole. This boot is leather lined, but it does have a cloth foam insole that's non-removable, so this will be a good one to do the cleaning on the inside just to play it safe. Like I said, I'm usually not concerned about these things because I do like to get used cowboy boots that are only slightly used. Still, here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a vacuum, you're gonna need some rubbing alcohol or vinegar, depending on your preference, some water, some leather conditioner, and a rag. Once you have all of those things together, then you can keep watching this video. Let's start by using the vacuum quick. When you get used boots, you might be getting them from somebody who has a dog or a cat or has socks that leave a lot of lint in their boots. So it doesn't hurt to run a vacuum in them real quick to get all that lint and hair or whatever else might be inside. So once we're done with the vacuuming, we can move on to disinfecting the inside, and you can use either some rubbing alcohol or vinegar with water. I'm not a huge fan of using vinegar as a cleaning product because I'm not really that fond of the smell. And the smell of vinegar seems to soak into whatever you're trying to clean, and then it gets in the air and it's just around forever. So I'm going to use rubbing alcohol instead. And if you do choose to go the rubbing alcohol route, you should realize that you don't want to use a lot. Even if you're trying to use vinegar, you don't want to use a lot. Alcohol is also used in boot stretching sprays. You don't want to use a lot in a new to you boot because once you put it on, the leather might stretch a little bit more and become like a real sloppy feel and fit. Make sure you don't use a lot when you put this on your rag, and you give the boot considerable time to dry before wearing. So with that, let's mix together 1 part alcohol and 1 part water. Like I said, we don't need a lot, and all you need to do is take your rag and make it damp. So it should not be dripping water at all. If it's soaked, then you're going to be saturating the leather too much, which could damage it and make it stretch a little bit more than what you would want. And we'll need to let this dry overnight and then hit it with some leather conditioner tomorrow to make sure the alcohol doesn't hurt the leather too much. Just run it along the inside of this boot. Now I'm going to do the insole. Since this is not a removable insole, I'm going to just really rub the rag on top of the insole and let that alcohol soak into it a little bit. Even though it's not dripping, like I said, it's just a damp rag. Now we'll do the other boot. So now that they have been cleaned on the inside, we need to let these dry overnight. And then tomorrow, we're gonna hit them with the conditioner. So let's cut to that.
The next day.
Now since the inside is all dried out, I feel like we need to hit it with some leather conditioner, and Bic 4 works really well on a whole bunch of different kinds of leather, so I feel like it would be a good choice to use inside the boot after doing that alcohol/vinegar treatment. You might not need to. The moisture from your foot might just be fine, but if you want to play it safe so that the leather doesn't crack, depending on what kind of leather and what kind of boot you have, you might want to condition the inside. Now, if you have a cloth-lined foot, a lot of times you might have a leather lining up top here and then cloth lining the inside of the boot down around the foot. You don't need to condition that at all, really. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't even condition the inside leather either, because it's kind of a lower quality boot anyways. I'm saying that if you're gonna get a used boot, you might as well get an all leather lined boot, just because they're gonna be pretty much exactly the same price and it's just a better overall quality anyways. We're gonna use a little bit of leather conditioner, not a lot, but just enough so that we can play it safe so that the leather doesn't crack. I very rarely ever condition the inside of my boots. I just feel like your moisture from the foot really does fine, and I've never had the inside of a boot crack. Only the outside of a boot has cracked before, and usually that is from something else being exposed to the outside, like gasoline or something like that. So I'm gonna just take the little bit of leather conditioner and start putting it around the top inside of the shaft in here. Again, not very much, not as much as you would put on the outside, just because your foot's gonna be in here too. Just to make sure that that leather is nice and moisturized. We'll get a little bit more here, and you just put it on your fingers and go into the boot. It's not gonna kill you. You'll be fine. And then around the foot as well. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Now we'll do the other boot. Once you've conditioned the inside of the boot after trying to disinfect it with vinegar or alcohol, I'd say you're pretty much good to go. I'd let them dry again overnight before you started to wear them or decided to do anything else with them. If you get the right boot, if you're buying used and you're buying slightly used, or a pair of boots that still has the original outsole and heel cap on it, I really don't think that you need to disinfect the inside. However, if you really want to, this process in this video is how I would do it. A lot of people buy cowboy boots as a thing that they just do on vacation. They wear them a couple times and then they sell them. That is the kind of used cowboy boot that I'm talking about when you go shopping at thrift stores or eBay or Poshmark, is to keep an eye out for those used cowboy boots that people just haven't worn very much, or they've gone dancing in them or something, you know? So I really have never run into an issue where I've needed to disinfect the inside of a cowboy boot, really ever, because I wouldn't buy a pair of cowboy boots that was looking like it was disgusting and possibly had fungal issues in there. So if you just want to play it safe though, This process is how I would do it. Let me know what you think. Do you have a different process? Definitely include that down in the comments for everybody coming through looking for different ways to clean the inside of a cowboy boot. Thank you so much for watching today. And if you want to see how to clean the outside and make it all nice for wearing and stuff, bring the life back into a boot like this, I already did a video about it. You can catch it at the link above. Peace, everybody. Have a great day. If you get used boots, you shouldn't have to clean the insides. But if you want to, take it easy and take your time. Yeah. Thanks for watching today. Why don't you check out this video up here about things to look for when buying used boots? Or maybe this video down here about me visiting a boot and repair store in Billings, Montana by the name of Al's Bootery and Repair Shop. Have a great day. Peace.